Hey, it's Marjory, and theoretically it was Sunday, but it's actually Monday. What is this, February 7th or 8th or something like that? As you can see, I am time challenged. Yeah, let's do a quick backyard update. I've been moving some things around. So the babies, so I separated mom and babies, and let me turn this around so that you can see this. So the five they're so adorable. The 5 little ones are in here in this cage, or kind of, they've been interesting. They've been looking through the fences to their dad over there. So in the spaces where they are no longer, I fenced it off to keep it off from the ducks and planted. I found this. Oh my God, a friend took me to Home Depot, and we were, you've got a really good girlfriend when you guys are just jamming on a trip to Home Depot. Anyway, this plant here is called mani, which it's a type of peanut, but it's a flower peanut. It doesn't actually make peanuts, but it's a fantastic high protein plant. It's real low growing and super prolific, so it'll be filling in. This is Equisetum hyemale. That's that one that I use for teeth a lot. And then I don't know the name of that one, but a girlfriend gave it to me and said, ducks love it. So, yeah, beautiful. The Mexican sunflowers coming in wonderfully. And then I don't know what's going on with the understory that I planted there. But, and I've scaled the duck thing back to just having, like 2 or 3 pans of water. And then I'm going to use this as a main pan for growing. The ducks, they knocked the covers off, so I kind of bent the wire around till they can't do it. Because the big pond that I had planned on being like the main source for duckweed where I could scoop it out, I don't know what's going on, but it does not look, well, I know the water is dark because I put minerals in there, so that I'm not worried about, but the plants just don't look that good in there. So I don't know if I'm going to need to dump the water and start over again, or what. But I'm super stoked. I think I might have a lead on some cuy, or they call them cavies. Cavies are what we call them in the English-speaking world. And they are in the rabbit family. And it turns out the ARBA, the American Rabbit Breeders Association, has shows, and some of their shows they have cavies. So. I'm tapping into that as a resource. So anyway, I'll let you know how that goes. But that's going to be a very, very, very important food source for here. Okay, we'll do the walk and talk and have fun. Oh, shoot. I'm going to risk it. I don't have my sprit for the the doggos. I'm going out commando. Well, hopefully I'll be safe. All right. So Epstein, it's starting to become super apparent that Epstein was a financier for Bitcoin, for both developers and miners. JP Morgan, by the way, was the only bank for Jeffrey Epstein. It was very interesting to see the names coming out, and of course the big most important one, the one Trump, who has more photos with Epstein than anybody else. That doesn't have much, of course, to protect the innocent or something like that. Anyway, I am surprised to see how much is coming out. I'm not digging into it too much because that's just a drama. We all know. We know what's going on. The real question is, will there really ever be? I don't know. This evil. Oh, God, I got a thing about here. It's just so evil. Evil. Okay, those guys have a good fence. Oracle laying off 30,000 people. Since Oracle is also a part of the AI conglomerate, that like there's 100 billion that got lent from one to the other, and it made it look like there was 800 billion in investment in AI, and it was actually the same 100 billion being in the. Well, Oracle's a part of that. So Oracle's going to go down eventually. I'm sure Larry will be fine. Isn't Larry Ellison the Oracle guy? He's gonna go down. Oh, there's traffic actually. Try not getting anywhere. One of my big goals in life. Alright, the stuff that truck has stopped and is honking. I wonder who that is. Hola! Oh well. I'm gonna walk down this way again. You get to see the neighborhood. So I ended up watching a Sarah Westall episode where she was talking to Kelsey Shave on the MAID system, and apparently MAID is almost about the #1 cause of death in Canada. Can you imagine? Oh my God, it was a pretty that was a difficult one to watch. I know it's been a lot. Yeah, that was a difficult one. I just got captivated by, and they're discussing the obvious, and when there's a huge amount of healthcare savings if they don't actually have to give you treatment and they just kill you. And then there's the whole organ harvesting aspect of it, and it got pretty gruesome. Like Sarah's like, well, we know they were doing this to old people. Are old organs good or not? Or what's the price of your organs? Oh, goodness gracious, that whole sell a kidney thing is not a joke anymore. Oh, well. Another couple of things. She said there's this whole propaganda campaign to normalize, basically, suicide. And she mentioned, I hadn't been aware of this, like People magazine is doing pieces on it, and Apple TV and the Today Show. She said there was People magazine did a thing about the CEO of Leapfrog went off on this fabulous vacation to Switzerland and then did one of the MAID type things there and ended his life or her life or whatever. Like, oh my God. And then Netflix has a series called Mary Kills You. All about some emergency room doc during the day, and at night she comes around and helps people die. Oh my goodness. Okay. It's a thing. I mean, we are in a die-off. So many people with so many weird, strange diseases going on, and of course, we can attribute a lot of that to the jabs. But I've been hearing about a lot of people coming down with these turbo cancers that were not jabbed. So there's some other stuff going on for sure. So anyway, aren't some of these homes really lovely? Really, really wonderful. I love it. I love the colors. Like Latin America, they are not afraid of color. I mean, you can paint your house pink. And it's totally fine. Way too much money on ornamentals here, but whatever. So Bitcoin went down to 66,000. Oh, and this was so funny. I saw a comment. Bitcoin has 66,000 and has strong support at 0. Yeah, I'm going to flip around. There's not really anywhere I can go here, and I'm going to upset that dog. So, I have to say I have been reflecting on the sheer evil of this whole great taking thing, and I have to say thank you again to those of you in the comments that I was actually just talking to Glenn Meter about this. I'm like, Glenn, have you read this? And Glenn said the exact same thing that I had said. Yeah, I know it's some evil plan by the bankers to take everything. And I said, yeah, that's exactly what I said before, because, you kind of know. And then, but oh my God, when you dig into the details of it, like, it's just horrible. Like, how could, it's stunningly horrible. And it's like they've done it before. It's not like this is new. Oh my God. Yeah. I was talking to my brother about that, and I've been talking to a lot of people about it. You're like, hey, do you know about this? And I had one dear friend of mine, and she read the book, and she was horrified. And then she She goes, Marjorie, though, I just don't believe they're that organized. And I'm like, how can you not believe they're that organized? They pulled off a pandemic, right? Anyway, she was all in line with that whole pandemic thing. She didn't get that was she thinks I'm a conspiracy theorist on that one. Anyway, she said, I just don't think they're that, I don't think there's anything that organized. And I was talking to my brother, and I said, my friend doesn't think. And he goes, I kind of understand what she's coming from. And he gave me this example. Apparently there's some 84, 94, whatever, some old lady who is the mother of somebody who's really famous. And apparently there's a whole drama about, oh my goodness, let's see if you can see that in the background, these mountains and this landscape. This is gorgeous. Anyway, there's this whole drama. Apparently she went missing, and then a couple of days later they find it's some kind of a note, and she's been kidnapped, or there's millions of dollars involved, and da-da-da-da. And my brother was saying, this thing is just so badly mismanaged. She says, I just don't think, look at how bad, like they can't even, take care of this. It's in Tucson, Arizona. I said, Frank, that is just some manufactured drama. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't, I don't know, but all the, these mass shootings, all those politics, everything, it's just a drama. And if it is legitimate, I said, the organization that they've built is built on fear and coercion. And at the lowest levels of those organizations is what you're seeing in Tucson. Nobody with competence is going to be there, If you were in a friggin' evil organization, like most of the world is, and you got competency, you are rising through the ranks. You're doing whatever you have to do, and you're making that happen, and you're becoming psychopaths. If you have some competency, you're probably getting either the heck out of it, or you're moving up, right? So anyway, crazy times. So it's very interesting how many people just aren't. Yeah, I can definitely feel. David Webb was talking a bit about the pain, especially among his family, for apparently holding such a dark and negative view for so long. And I can definitely relate to that. I definitely can relate to that. Like I've had a vision a long time ago of what's about to happen. I didn't know the detail. And that's why I'm talking to you right now and doing all that I do in the preparedness and self-reliance stuff. You ain't getting through it unless you have some preparedness. Okay, so silver's moving back up again. Oh my goodness, that whole thing. I love Bix Weir's comment. It's a click of a mouse. They actually remember in 2020. Oops, was it 2020? I think it was 2020. They accidentally clicked the mouse and oil was negative $40 a barrel. I wish I'd have been smart enough back then to go ahead and grab a whole bunch of that negative $40 a barrel oil. I remember at the time just being shocked, like, how could something like that exist? Like, they'll pay me to take oil? We do live in completely insane times. By the way, one of these houses, I think it's a 2-bedroom over there. Supposedly is the son of the mayor lives there. And that's why I thought this neighborhood would be good, because we would likely have less power interruptions, or the power would come back on quicker. Turns out that strategy is not working out. But I tried anyway. Oh, if you didn't get to Puerto Rico and you wanted to come and you need another excuse, the Caribbean Agroforestry Institute, and I'm attending this one because this is vitally important. They're having a water purification class. So you take a couple of 55-gallon drums, and it's like, I don't know, sand, biochar, stuff like that. And Stephanie, who's organizing that, has been working on this guy. Apparently he's really, really good, for like 2 years to get this thing together. And it's going to be over, like February 28th and March 1st. And definitely camping, or if you're not a camper, there's a few Airbnbs nearby. Meals, fabulous organic, locally grown. Like, I even hate to use the word organic anymore because that's so corrupted, but just, oh, fabulous, fabulous food. Yeah, go to Caribbean Agroforestry Institute. You can sign up there, come out, have an amazing weekend, learn something practical. So I'm going because I've got a couple of years of Berkey filters stored up. Of course I do, right? And I've always wanted a course like this because, at some point you're going to get past a couple of years, and I think this thing is going to go on based on what I've been reading about, the Great Depression and the Great Taking and the whole thing. I don't know. I used to be hopeful we could get through it in a few years. It's going to be at least a decade, right? At least maybe 2. So you gotta just look at some long-term, deep self-reliance. And I believe they're going to show you how to make the biochar as well as construct the filters. And then I've done some reading on this before, and these filters are really good. Like, they'll clean out, what is the one everybody's terrified of? E. coli and all that. I mean, they're really good. Probably even better than your Berkey filters. So, yeah. Come on out. That'll be February 28th, March 1st. I'd love to hang out with you. Steph's place is beautiful in the jungle. Beautiful buildings. You got all these food forests going on, and her little daughter Acacia. Oh, she's so sweet. My favorite. Okay. February 15th. Oh, so Alexander sent me in this, and it was one of the many millions now. The Asian guy on YouTube has, like, I think I told you a couple weeks ago, I quit watching Asian Guy because Asian Guy has just totally become useless now. Anyway, Asian Guy had this one about how on February 15th, all the dealers were going to have to be required to start reporting sales over $3,000. And you'd want your name and your social security and everything like that, right? And that turned out to be bogus. I was looking into that. Money Metals had a really good article on it. A couple of dealers, I go to them and they're like, no, no, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. Yes, fake news. Mike P then also made a comment somewhere, or got in touch with me and said, no, that's fake news. So, Asian Guy, I'm glad he's rallying people to buy silver, because the more people who have some, the better off we're all going to be. But it's really getting bad now, the quality of isn't that funny? This is going to be an interesting trend that an influencer gets real popular, real big, and then there can be all kinds of AI duplicates. I don't think anybody's going to ever duplicate me. I feel pretty confident about that. I don't know. My mom used to say that imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. So there's that. Good old Mom. Yeah, just looking at the Asian guy and I'm like, which one's the real AI? Which AI is real? I want the real Asian guy. Hey, let's walk up the street, see what's going on. I haven't been up here in a while. Will the real AI please stand up? I don't know which one is the real AI. I thought it was the Boring Company for a while, or John OG, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just, oh, look at these beautiful, beautiful taro plants growing in the ditch. Wow. Let's see. Oh yeah, you can see them here. See, look at that. Amazing. Beautiful. You could only have really big leaf plants like that in the places where it doesn't freeze. Okay. Jason. Oh my God, Jason Saylor. He's been making some comments. He's my new favorite. I just subscribed to his thing. He's from what I'm reading and what I see him doing, he's the real deal. Jason, man, I wish that guy lived right next door to me. He's super cool. Has a lot of experience in wilderness stuff and tests out gear, and I like it. And he's really clearly aware of what's going on. And he had a comment on the one where I said taking that into the insanity. And man, he had this whole review of like what's been going on since the early 1900s and how everything that we're doing now is a repeat of that, which I totally agree with him. Even down to the outbreak of Spanish flu or whatever, and all the vaccines, and the who got dead and who didn't, and then the whole banking thing. Yeah, he's just amazing. I think one of the differences between now and then, and by the way, it makes sense to me that whoever is managing this planet, and I've talked about this before, they work on really, really long time scales. So either they're not human, or they're humans that have figured out some really, really access to longevity beyond what the rest of us know about. You guys are just so noisy. I agree. I'm not going up that road. Thank you. And it's dark. Okay. But they've been managing this planet for how many centuries or millennia? I mean, it's been going on a long time. We have no fucking clue what our history is. Right? They've definitely kept that. And they've kept all the good stuff. So when the Catholics were going out conquering things, they would grab up all that indigenous wisdom stuff. And I think it's all in the basement in Rome, in the Vatican or whatever. They know a lot of, they got a lot of information that really belongs to humanity. Anyway, they do the same stuff over and over again. But I think there is a difference this time. So, because we're all aware, like I'm talking to you now, we're talking about, oh, these guys are pedophilia Satanists, or we're aware that there is a narrative. The media is a whole, we're aware that that's a megaphone for this group, right? That did not exist in the 1930s. That didn't exist in the 40s. So my mom was born in 1920. Yeah, I know, right? My parents, they got around to it pretty late. But she was a young woman during World War II, and so pretty as a young, in her 20s, like I'm cognizant of what's going on in the world. And she lived in New York City in the Village, and which was at that time was like an artist colony. So we're talking fringe stuff. And she worked in nightclubs, actually the Hotel Astor. And what she would do is she would take photographs of tables of people. And the Hotel Astor at that point, that was the hotel in New York. That was the number one premier, hotel. Anyway, she would take photographs of people, families, or with a table. And while they were dining, she'd run in the back, and she had a little darkroom set up. And she'd develop the photos, and then as they were paying their meal, she would show them the photos, and then they would buy them or not, right? Usually buy them. And that was her gig, my mom. She wasn't going to be a nurse or a school teacher, which was pretty much the only other options at that time. But bless her heart, man, what a woman. Anyway, very difficult to be her daughter, I'll tell you. Anyway, I asked her as a mom, what was it like during World War II? Was anybody talking about how all the ships were being put in Pearl Harbor and, not that was really not that we knew about it ahead of time? And because here she is, she's fringe, right? She's definitely on the fringe. She would be in the conversations where this kind of thing would be talked about, and she said no. Everybody was solidly behind the war effort. Everybody was very patriotic. There was no, all that stuff came out later. There was nothing about that. And now she was pretty aware of government and all that sort of stuff, but not in those times. It wasn't a narrative back then. They had control of everybody's mind and what they thought and how they felt and what they believed. So I think that's the big difference between the previous times they've done this stuff and now. So I don't know. Is that good or not? I wonder how many of us there are. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't even know how you'd find them. Okay, oh shit, starting to rain a little bit. That's always dangerous for my camera. I might try to get home and see if I can get somewhere where it's not going to get wet. Okay, next Friday is the 13th, which is an ominous date. It also happens to be a 3-day weekend, so if you remember, you want to be super careful about 3-day weekends. As the bankers have promised, that's when they would do their deal. Shut down the banking system over a 3-day weekend. I am really hoping this is not this week. Because I'm going to Mexico, to Acapulco. Yeah, don't really want to be in Mexico during the shutdown of the banking system, but whatever. If that's what my fate is, I'll do it. Hey. That'll be fun. See what happens. Or not. But Jenny Moonstone, who is Bix works with her a lot. She's a very good intuitive. I've used her for private sessions, and I've followed her via Bix on some of her other stuff, and she's up there in the good ones. And if you remember that thing I did, I don't know how many months ago on intuitives, you know, the best intuitives are only about 70% accurate. So, you know, but she's saying there's some big dark black swan thing coming up, and it's coming up real soon. So, it wouldn't surprise me, something coming up, because something's coming up. Things are falling apart pretty rapidly right now. If you're working for Oracle, it just went from a recession to a depression, right? You know that old saying of it's a recession if their neighbor loses a job, it's a depression if you do. All right. Oh, there was a really good. I got to a lot of the comments. I love the comments. So a lot of people were talking about the LEDs and the LED lights, and there was a lot of confusion about electricity. And then I just had to say hats off to both Jason and Bob, who were contributing a lot of comments to help people understand what's going on there. And I think it was Mary was asking me, could I do a quick overview on solar systems? And I want to say, first of all, and I forget who it was that asked me, was like, why do you have solar? I'm like, look, power is going to become very, very, very precious here very soon, whether it's fuel, whether it's electricity, and I'm going to tell you, power is a very good thing. I mean, I remember being in the wilderness with the Tarahumara Indians, and this one family had just gotten a little solar panel and a battery and an electric light, and they were thrilled because they could be up a little bit later at night, which ultimately may not be better for them, but you know, I would rather have power and not use it than to not have any power and want it, or not have any power at all. So, and solar at this point, no, it's not going to last forever. We had some discussions in the comments about, well, you know, my panels, I've had them for 7 years or 10 years, and they're now only producing about 40% or whatever. And I'm like, look, you know, my outlook right now is I just want to try and get through the next decade. yeah, they may not last forever. Same thing with the batteries, they don't last forever, but we got to do the best we can with what we have, and I don't know of any other systems that are going to be more permanent that, although I have to admit, was it Jason? I was talking about lead acid batteries, and that really rocked my world. I'm like, well, really? And like that seems like, you know, if you've got a house and you don't, you know, you got room and you're not moving them, which is not my story, but yeah, I could see lead acid, and they do require some maintenance. Apparently they're a lot more reliable, and I agree with them. These lithium ion and lipos, they're pretty dangerous, honestly. They're prone to bursting into flame and all that sort of stuff. Okay, good. Well, I got some light here. Going back to the LED lights. So the LEDs are light emitting diodes, and a diode is really it's a DC device, and the lamps, the lights that I had in that video are DC. They run off of USB ports. I think it's only like 5 volts. So I think if you're seeing flickering in an LED lamp, it's because the source that's turning the AC into DC has a flicker rate. They use it's a pulse width modulation or what. Anyway, they use some techniques to try and smooth out the sinusoidal wave. Actually, they often invert the bottom half of it and then smooth it out as best they can. But if you're in a pure DC system, and it's not like, oh, they're doing it at 20,000 hertz and you can't see it because it's flickering too fast. It's a DC component. My question in that video, and if you do happen to know it, is they talk about the Kelvin lights. Clearly blue light is bad for you. I totally get that. I really have noticed that. And I wear blue blockers at night when I have to do computer work at night. And I generally try not to have screen time at night. except for when I'm walking around doing videos like this. I'll have to get this up to upload it too. But I wear blue blockers. And so my question was, those LEDs are not, they're 2700 Kelvin is what I've been getting, and I think 3000 Kelvin, which is more of a yellow light. Yeah, and I'm just wondering if anybody had any information on that. It's not the blue, which would be around 5000 or 6000 Kelvin. So anyway, let me know. And I still think, you know, having light for low power and low cost. And I will try, somebody asked, a couple of people asked, you could give me the links to Amazon. I've tried a couple of them out now, and a couple of them are bad. I'll give you the link to the one I like, and it was like really super inexpensive. I think it was like $19 or something like that. So let me get some light here. Ah, damn, why did I wait so long to make this video for you? Now I'm even a day late. Okay, Mabel. So Mabel, the download, right? The downloads. Okay, y'all, I am so sorry. So I'm shutting down the grownetwork.com website. And I want to make sure that everybody who ordered a digital product could have access to it. And the first place I uploaded it all to was a private. I used Treasure It for my own private files, and that everybody just swamped that. And Treasure It said, "No more. You can't do this anymore." I'm like, okay. So I get on Grok, and we have a SharePoint account for the company. I said, Brock, if I use this SharePoint thing, I might have about 1,000 people downloading about 300 gigabytes of data. Will my account have? Grok said it'll be fine, don't worry. And then as soon as we get those links out, it crashes it, and Microsoft says, don't ever do that again. My God. So then I put it up onto Amazon S3, which Amazon, well, it's Amazon, right? And this is supposedly built for this. So, and I sent those links out over the weekend where you can download. You don't have to rush. It's going to be up for at least a month or so. And there's like the ebooks and the courses and the academy. And if you bought any of the specialty videos and stuff like that, they're all available for download. And I ended up giving a lot more links to downloads than stuff you probably bought. So, you know, please do buy them and prepare. And if you do have the legacy drive, you have all of that and more. So you don't need to worry about it if you purchase the legacy drive. Just wanted to say thank you so much for those of you who have purchased the legacy drive. So I'm no longer in the situation where I won't buy a cup of coffee because I don't have the money. I moved out of that. Shutting down the Grow Network has actually helped a lot. Cutting expenses, which means a little more income is coming. I lost a lot of income too, but on the net, I'm getting more. So I'm, doing a little better now. But I really appreciate those of you who have purchased the drives, because that's really helped a lot. And it turns out actually sourcing those hard drives is really hard. I've got a business account with Amazon. They're like, only let me buy 5 at a time. It's crazy. Anyway, but I'm working on it. So if you ordered one, I will get it out to you. It's coming. Anyway, Mabel, I deeply apologize. What can I say? So you should have your links. And let me know if you haven't. Okay. Dang, I really need more light. Oh, is it Adrian said, don't be like Mike Adams. Sell, 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 And Adrian, I got to tell you, that is exactly why I closed the Grow Network down. Is I was spending so much money every month on staff, on contractors, on servers, on marketing stuff. You wouldn't believe how much, and to emails, it costs, people say, oh, email's free. No, it's not. When we were sending like 1.5 million to 3 million emails. You got 100,000 subscribers and you're emailing them 4 times a week. And then there's others, it adds up. Like, it costs a lot of money. So I just said, forget it. I'm just not doing that anymore. And that's part of why I shut down the whole Grow Network, because I'm hustling to pay all these bills. And it just like, I just don't want to be that sell person. Like and I don't want the pressure, and it's really hard to lay people off. Like, cause I know, Ruth, like, that was her income. I know some of the people that, like, it's like that's their job, like, and I've just laid them off at a time when it's really hard to get another job now. And they're all good. They're all really good, skilled people. It was just getting to be too much. So anyway, Adrian, regarding Mike Adams, I know Mike personally. That doesn't necessarily mean I know him. Almost any large influencer I absolutely think is suspect. If you've got a large following, I think that automatically makes you suspect. But I do get Mike's very genuine. I don't think he's bought out. Now, Alex Jones, absolutely, completely corrupt. Almost everybody, absolutely, completely corrupt and gone. Like, don't even bother your time. But, and I'm not saying I'm a devotee of Mike either, but from what I see, I don't know. But I'm still got an open mind about him. He definitely has been one of the biggest supporters for me in my work. Of anybody, and there's a lot of people that said, yeah, we think it's a great idea. No, we can't get you on the schedule. Okay. Garth, oh my God, yeah, Garth was, I thank you so much, Garth. Garth was pointing out these new Samsung batteries that you can charge a battery that would drive a car or truck, 250 miles, and you can charge it in, 9 minutes or something like that. And he's pointing out that is such a ginormous power transfer for, like, if you think about it, he's like, did he say like that would be the amount of power to fuel a neighborhood with 250 houses. I thank you so much. That makes so much sense what you wrote there, and I just love it when we have logic that can point out the ridiculousness of what's going on in the world. Imagine if it was a cable, it'd be like solid copper, like, inches thick, right? I'm into this now because I'm trying to hook up the battery for my solar panel system. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much. He did the analysis on it, and you're right. There's no way in heck. So, Garth said he's the one using one of the lead acid batteries set up, and it says it works great. So I believe him, and I'm like, wow, I need to rethink this whole battery situation. Okay. Oh, here's something funny. There's a group called the Tinfoil Single Mingle. Don't you just love that name? What are you two? There's two cats. You can never tell if cats are playing or fighting. I think they're my cats. They're playing. Anyway, the Tinfoil Single Mingle. It's going to be going on at Anarchapulco. I'm so excited about going to Anarchapulco, and no, I'm not going to the Single Mingle. I am so happy being single. Like, why would I want to fuck that up? I don't want anything to do with anything. Okay, all right. Oh my God, there was a couple of people that wrote in, and I'm having a hard time reading the names here. I want to give you credit that they've just passed a law that in all cars made in 2026 that they have to be installed with, I don't know if a breath analyzer. They have to have it installed to determine the ability of the driver to drive and function. I think it does something by staring at your retina. I'm not sure if it has a breath analyzer in there. And not only does it have to be able to determine your ability to drive, but then if it determines that you are not able, then it has to have the ability to shut your car down. Like, what? And apparently there's no due process, there's no recourse, there's like no, and we're talking about some software and sensors that are being mandatorily put in cars that will be analyzing you all the time and can shut your car down at any time it wants. I'm like, that is invasive. Yeah. I know back in the day, a lot of people were all excited about Elon Musk, and I said, well, let's look at what he's doing. He's building electric cars And they're pushing why are they pushing the electric car? Because you can control an electric car. You can't control a gasoline powered or diesel powered engine. You can completely control an electric car. Take over the steering, you can shut it down. We have that funny thing that's happened in Russia, like didn't Porsche shut down all the Porsches in Russia, like for some whatever political reason or whatever, but like the guy goes, my Porsche, I don't know how many tens of thousands of dollars that thing goes. It's like a gigantic paperweight now, it's useless. Okay, California just enacted to seize, damn, I gotta get better in the light. Oh, inactive crypto accounts. If you have an inactive crypto account for 3 years, California has now said, oh, we can seize that. It sounds horrible, but it really only applies if you keep your money on a crypto exchange in a custodial account or a bank account or something like that. So if you've got your money in your own wallet, your own keys, your own hardware device, which is what I always recommend. I love Caleb and Brown. Do not leave your money with Caleb and Brown. Don't leave your money on any exchange. And California now says if you leave your money on an exchange, then after 3 years, we can claim it. And then if you can get it back, you're just going to have to go through a lot of rigmarole and identification and da-da-da-da-da. And I didn't follow it enough to see how long it would be before they took it back all completely. But there's another, man, they're just inching their way in everywhere, aren't they? Okay. So, I got a couple of other really great comments. I'm almost done. I missed last week's comments. I really, really love reading your input and interacting with it. And there was one from somebody posted a link to Bobby Brown, and this guy has a really interesting video on the Great Depression. And he was saying back in the 1930s, the average salary or wage or annual was about $4,800. And translated into today's dollars, if you account for inflation and whatever like that, probably the official government inflation numbers, not the real inflation numbers, it translates to an $87,000 a year salary. And right now, that was in the 1930s, and right now the average salary is about $63,000. So he was making a good point that we are already in the Depression. I've been talking about that for a long time. We are in the Depression. It's already way past started. And back then it was supposedly a 25% unemployment rate. I am pretty certain we're there. They use the government statistics of 4% or whatever they're making up. Don't get me started. That's, the way they manipulate those numbers is so horrible. So I wanted to leave you with two very interesting thoughts, and maybe it's two categories of thought. So one is, I really recommend that you find a spiritual tradition that really calls to you, and if you have one, maybe get more engaged with it, get more involved with it. And for me, one thing that I've been finding and getting a lot out of is a book called Thinking and Destiny, and it's by Harold Percival. Some of the book is real easy to read, and then some of it is so extraordinarily difficult you'll just like bang your head against a wall. But I have a weekly group that we get on, unfortunately, Zoom, and discuss it. And I've just been getting so much out of it. I know my place in this reality. I know what I'm here for. I know what I'm meant to do. I know what support I have from the other dimensions and realms. It's been a real comfort for me. It has been. And I know other people, I'm deeply suspicious of the Bible, especially the King James Version. Let's talk about that word version, right? I pointed out that King Charles, who is a known Satanist, is the owner of the rights to the King James Version because it's in his lineage. Anyway, but whatever it is, and there are a lot of people who get a lot out of the Bible. That's just not my path. But whatever it is, meditation or some people do it through singing. I'm actually looking at buying this really simple drum to do like more of a sound meditation. I really, really recommend you deepen into your practice. And for me, Thinking in Destiny has really done it. It's really been wonderful. Yeah, and another thought for you, and I know this came up a lot with the electrical stuff, and there's a lot of concern about electromagnetic things and EMF and radiation, and totally get you. By the way, solar panels don't generate electromagnetic. It's the inverter and the batteries that have the fields, and especially the inverter is the most dirtiest part of that whole process. If you're running a whole DC process, there's actually, I mean, there's some, but it's a very different kind of radiation. But anyway, I've been involved with studying and practicing biogeometry for a long time, a couple of years, 3-4 years now. Still don't understand it all. Anyway, they have some very effective techniques for harmonizing and mitigating the damage from electromagnetic radiation. That's biogeometry. And the founder of biogeometry is a man, and he's now in his elder years, 80s. Very vibrant and alive and clear, though, Dr. Ibrahim Karim. And I am going to make you that video on biogeometry, I promise you. Yeah, I'm really busy. I start so many projects. I finish a lot of them. Okay, my ex-husband's in my head right now. Hon. All right. No, seriously, I'll start 10 projects. I'll finish 7 of them, and then I figure that's probably 6 more projects than anybody else is doing. So on the whole, I'm very accomplished. But yeah, I got a lot going on. Anyway, Dr. Ibrahim Karim, and really wonderful, wonderful new science. And I would call it an etheric technology. Not quite like a Tesla, but dealing with those sorts of realms. Anyway, he has this lovely 3-sentence saying that I've really it's been doing me, right? I love it. I love it when something does me, right? And I think about it, and it goes like this, is, you make me see everything. So he's referring to whatever it is that is our biogeometry is non-religious or non-political or anything, but whatever it is that has manifested us, you make me see everything. I see you in everything. So in other words, all this world exists because of because of this thing that's showing me, and everything that exists, everything that I see it that created it in it. So you make me see everything. I see you in everything. And oh dang, I forgot the third part. Well, you're gonna have to hang on the edge of your seat. Those first 2 have been doing me this week. I'll get you the third one next time I upload. But those 2 are good. Those 2 are good. Isn't that just a wonderful thought? Like, you make me see everything, and I see you in everything. And there is a third part, but those 2 right there are just good enough. Okay, this is Marjory. All right, I'll talk to you later. I'm going to be a little bit spotty off and on because I'm going to Acapulco. If you're in Anarch, please come find me. I would love to hang out with you. Let's have a meal together. Let's have some coffee together. Yeah. Alrighty. We'll talk to you later.